Welcome to day 18 of the 21-day relational challenge, take 3.
Not sure what's going on. We've done this 18 days in a row.
Yeah,
but
Facebook Live has not been working for us at all. Anyway, here we are.
Here we are. So
pivoting, trying.
Yeah, I mean, that's been a key part of this whole challenge is what can you do? And
What can you do?
We're trying this a different way.
So yesterday we encouraged you to use humor to help break tension in your relationship. Did anyone hire a new coworker named Cheryl? Did you watch a comedy together? How did you laugh with one another?
I know I laughed. I laughed really hard because I came into our room last night and Leanne was doing some self-care after a meeting with a group of ladies on Zoom. And when I came into the room, she was wearing a Korean kind of face mask.
I know,
thing.
but Darcy...
In 30 years of marriage, I've never seen this.
But the challenge was not to laugh at your spouse. The challenge was to laugh with your spouse. Anyway.
I couldn't help it.
We also shared the 12 big words of forgiveness.
I am sorry.
I was wrong.
Wow, that's the first time. That's the first time. Please forgive me.
And I love you. And we put them up on our kitchen as a reminder for us.
So right now, people are in significant stress with their finances and are wondering about the future. People have lost their jobs. Income has dried up. Others' investments are tanking. Like the world seems shaky right now. Mm-hmm. So today, in terms of finances, we're going to challenge you to take action and to rest. It's interesting, as Leanne and I have taught on finances, trust, and generosity all around the world for years to apply our values on our finances in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, it's interesting to have values, but then when things come at you, are you going to hold true to those values? So let's start with action. We say action because for many people, the first response is just to hide away in this season, go under your covers and pretend it's not happening. No, you can't do this. This is a time to lead yourself well and to take action. So what can you do? First of all, take an inventory. Sit down with a pad of paper and physically write out the numbers. What income do you have? It might be reduced right now, but what do you have? What external resources are available to you? This will depend on the country you live in, but lots of governments are scrambling right now in order to help provide help in different ways. So are there things you can access? Are there creative ways to generate more income right now?
Yeah, once you've listed your income, you now want to look at expenses. What expenses are fixed? What should be prioritized? We know you need to key in on the big 5: shelter, utilities, food, transport, and generosity.
Of your fixed expenses, are there any companies who will pause or defer or reduce your costs? One of our friends got on the phone and spent hours talking with her suppliers and was surprised by how many were willing to help.
Yeah, another friend just this morning said that when your supplier or your creditor knows your intent, then they're willing to help you.
They're willing to work with you. So what expenses can you reduce or even eliminate? Most of us have enough clothes.
And shoes.
It's true. It's true.
So debt. Many people carry all kinds of debt. Mortgage, credit cards, line of credit, student loans, grandma loans. Mm-hmm. So list your debts and their interest rates and when they're due. What debts are being given grace right now? I know student loans are being given grace right now. Are there any that you can consolidate to a line of credit with a lower rate of interest, i.e. moving credit card debt onto a line of credit? Is there any of your creditors you could call and ask for grace? Make a plan to pay off your debts and do your absolute best not to add to them.
That is great advice. Don't add any more debt. Dave Ramsey has a whole philosophy around debt and creating what he calls a debt snowball. And you may want to start researching and planning for after this pandemic because there is a future for us financially after this is all over. A great question we were asked in our early 20s when we were just starting out in ministry was this:
how little can you live on?
Now, surprisingly, we learned that we didn't need a lot and still enjoyed a great quality of life. And we asked ourselves this question again a few months ago when we headed to Asia because we had a reduced income. We were moving to a very expensive city And for the past few months, we've been living really simply, but life has still been rich. So the question becomes, what is it that we really need? Separating those wants from those needs, because it's time to cut out the fluff.
So baby clothes,
Baby clothes.
grandma to be.
Well, we still have to negotiate that, right?
What a beautiful time to push back the idol of materialism and help us evaluate what we have, what we spend, and how we live. Consumerism, fast fashion, greed, they've been rampant in the West. And our culture has actually needed a course correction, a wake-up call. Painful, yes, but we can learn from it.
I love that, actually. It's a time for reflection. So just to warn you, I'm a bit of a budget nerd, but you need a spending plan. And that's a nice way to say budget. If you haven't got a budget, now's the time to start. And if you do have a budget, it's a great time to review it. People hear the word budget and think restriction, but a spending plan empowers you to make spending decisions based on your values and your priorities. And so you can spend freely and feel really good about it. If you're a person of faith, now is not the time to pull back on giving. Not at all. Be sure to include tithing and generosity in your plan. And I wish we had more time to talk about this, but it is a spiritual principle that when we give, it creates an open heaven above us. Our spending plan includes what we call freedom funds.
Freedom funds.
For each of us. They're small, but we can spend our little fund any way we like, including getting Korean face masks.
You go for it. Like I am not, but you go for it. A spending plan reduces the stress. You know what? You have it all times. We've used apps to help us plan our zero-based budget. And with a zero-based budget, all the funds that come into your house have a job. They all have a home. So your expenses match your income.
And we use a platform called You Need a Budget, or YNAB for short. And it's a subscription platform, but for us, it's worth every penny. Dave Ramsey has something similar, and it's called Every Dollar, and there's a free version, but now is the time to get a handle on your money, and you can do it.
Leanne said, be generous. And I have to double up on that. Be generous. Our temptation is to hoard and believe the lie that there isn't enough.
That scarcity thing. Hey?
Yeah. Whenever Leanne and I are under financial pressure or stress, we give something away. It's been a practice for us to say we're not ruled by our finances. We can trust God to help us. We have all that we need, and there are people in need. How can we help?
In greater need than we are, right?
Yeah, so generosity actually releases blessing in us. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 8 and 11, great chapter. And God is able to make all grace abound to you, so that in all things, at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. Like God will provide enough.
Right.
And you'll be made rich in every way so that you can be generous on every occasion. So not rich so that you can hoard, but enough that you can give. And through us, your generosity will result in thanksgiving to God.
So rest in God, but he's got us. Luke 12 from the Message says, what I'm trying to do here is to get you to relax, not to be so preoccupied with getting so that you can respond to God's giving. People who don't know God and the way he works fuss over these things, but you know God and how he works. Steep yourself in God reality, God initiative, God provisions. You'll find that your everyday human concerns will be met. Don't be afraid of missing out. Be generous and give to the poor.
So rest in God. Leanne's going to ask, okay, unpack that.
But what does that look like?
What does that look like? The key word is steep. Pour a cup of hot water and steep your tea and watch what happens. The tea, the residue of Jesus, hits the water, changes the flavor, the smell, the taste, and it is like good tea is so good. Remember that tea factory in Sri Lanka?
Yes, I do.
Kristen and Nish Kandangama?
Loved it.
So good. So steep yourself in God's reality, his perspective.
Yeah, what does he see?
What does he see in this situation? In God's initiative, his creativity, and his mission for others. So that initiative in us, through us, and then his miraculous provision.
We have story after story of God providing
After story.
for us. Yeah, at just the right time with exactly what we needed. Like miracle stories. And we are confident that if he can do that for us, he can absolutely do that for you.
Yeah.
So your challenge today, develop a spending plan based on your reality now, or review the one you already have. And we're going to throw some links in the comment section to help you get started.
Part 2 of the challenge, pour a cup of tea and steep yourself in the presence of God. And coffee if it's coffee or water, but like slow down, pause, take a deep breath, and spend time with Jesus. Seriously, give him your financial situation.
Yes.
And part 3, give something away. Like, be generous, help someone else out. Lastly, reach out yourself. If you need help, your local church is a great place to start. We're so inspired that the church around the world is engaged in generosity and bringing resources to people who are in need. And so don't let pride get in the way for you to receive when you need.
When you need it, exactly. That's why we're in community, right? So tomorrow is Fitness Friday. It's going to be good. Wear your sweatpants because Darcy, I think, is going to be demonstrating some stuff. Is that what I understand?
Leanne's going to flex tomorrow. She's going to flex.
I actually do have big muscles.
I knew as soon as I mentioned it that you were going to flex now. It was just like, she's
so funny.
She's
Okay.
quite impressed. So
Okay.
we're going to talk physical fitness tomorrow. Get ready. And remember together,
blah, blah, blah.
you've got this.